Morning. Now this is algebra part 2. We're going to continue from where we stopped last time. So now today we're going to focus on simplification involving addition and multiplication. When I talk about addition, I also mean subtraction. So algebraic terms we can add and subtract only if they are like terms. We can only add or subtract like terms. For example, let's say you have 5x plus x. The first thing that you have to make sure is that they're the same family. So there's the family of x and family of x. So it's okay, we can add. Now what do we add? We know that if we are adding family of x, the result is always another family of x. Only what will change is the numbers that are in front of this. So here we have 5 plus in front of this 1. Because if there's nothing, remember there's 5 apples. We're adding 1 apple, so the result obviously is 6 apples. So the family doesn't change, we're just adding. Here what we have two different families. We have a family of t and we have a family of x. So what we're going to do is we're going to group them together. So I'm going to add the family of t first. So t is alone t. Then in front of this 5t I have a plus. So I say plus 5t. What I'm left with on the right now is this plus 8x and minus 7x. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the families separately. So I have 1t plus 5t, which gives me 6t, plus family of x will stay x, and then what I do addition and subtraction of the numbers. So I do 8 minus 7, which gives me 1. And one thing you have to remember is that 1 can be neglected in the sense that I can write it only as x. The next step, let's say you have a fraction now. Here the families are already together. I don't need to add them. So I have 1 over 5 minus 1 over 7. So you're going to take the corner of your copybook and you're going to do this calculation. 1 over 5 minus 1 over 7. And you will see that the common is 35. So you're going to multiply by 7, multiply by 5. 7 minus 5 is just 2 over 35. So what I'm left here is 2 over 35x. Now, a family of t, there's no other families of t, so I have to leave it as it is. If I had another family of t, I could add. The same thing here for this number that's left behind. The number doesn't have any family, so I leave it as minus 8. The fourth example now, let's say I have plus 4 here. Okay, the fourth example, now I have to look for the similar families. Again, there's family of xy. Family of xy is not the same as family of x. It's the same as family xy there is here. So I'm going to do 8xy, regroup them together, plus 4xy. What I'm left with is here minus 9x. And here in front of 12x there's a minus, so it's minus 12x. Plus 20 plus 4, and 20 and 4 are of the same family because they don't have any alphabets. Now what I'm going to do is xy stays xy, 8 plus 4 is 12, x and x are the same. Now if you don't remember, when you do integers, there's minus 9 here, minus 12. We have to verify, is the sign the same? When signs is the same, we add. And then we verify that we need to write down the sign of larger number. So here, what we have is we have 9 and 12. On ajoute 12 et 9, ça vous donne 21. Okay, and the larger number is 12. It has a negative sign, so it will be minus 21. Then in front of this x, I write minus 21x. And then what I'm left is 20 plus 4. 20 plus 4 is 24, and that is the answer. And please, can you try to do these questions as your homework for today? I'm not going to send a remedial. This will be your homework and I'll correct it next week. Before we end, now I'll teach you a bit on multiplication, which is very different from addition. When you have addition, suppose I'm taking one apple, I'm adding plus another apple. What I'm left is I have 2 apples. With multiplication, it's a bit different. It's as if I'm taking one apple and I'm fusing it with another apple, and what I'm left with is a bigger apple. Okay, and in that big apple, I have the 2 apples. Multiplication is as if I'm taking the alphabets and I'm making it larger. Okay, so the families in multiplication, families change. The families don't stay the same. For instance, here, x times x, what will happen is I will get x squared. Now, how do I get x squared? Because x and x are going to fuse together, and there's how many x's? There's 2 x's, so it becomes x squared. Here, when I have 12 times x, it just becomes 12x. 5 times x squared will become 5x squared. It's as if the number fuses with the alphabets. Now let's take this example now. We have 5 times x times x. If it was 5 plus x, I couldn't have done anything because they're not the same families for them to add. For multiplication, we don't really worry about whether they are same families or not. As long as we're multiplying, what will happen is a fusion will occur. Multiplication causes a fusion. So here, when they're going to fuse, 5 is going to fuse with this x, and this x is going to fuse with that x. Now remember, when 2 x's fuse together, they become x and x. But I'm not going to write 5xx. I'm going to write, because it's twice, I'm going to write 5x squared. Same thing here. So when I'm going to fuse, there's 12 times 5. I have to do this calculation. 12 times 5 gives me 60. Now write 60 here, and what will happen with the 2 x's, because we are multiplying, they will fuse together to form x squared. Now let's say you have different powers of y. We have to see how many y's I have here. I have 7 y, so I write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7y, I'm multiplying by 6y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When we do this kind of multiplication, I have to add the total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it becomes y power 13. Another way to do this is that, let's take for example, if you have x times x, we can add the powers. So you can write down the shortcut. When multiplying unknowns, we add the powers. Okay, so if we're multiplying unknowns, the unknown remains x, and then what will happen is that, let's say here there's no power. When there's no power, we say that the power is 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the power. 1 plus 1, it becomes x squared. That's how we get x power 2. Now let's say here we had y power 7 times y power 6. What we're going to do is, because they're same families, here we're going to do y. 7 and 6, we're going to add them, it becomes y power 13. So instead of looking at y individually, we can just write it directly by adding the powers. Now here, when we are adding powers, we have to make sure we can only add powers. We can only add powers if they are same family. So we'll take an example just now where I'll show you where it's different family. Let's say we have page 177, exercise 15.8, part D first. I'm going to start with part D. So here we have 3z9 times 12z6. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to multiply the numbers first. 3 times 12 is 36. And then what I'm left with is z. So z will become only 1z. And because they're the same family of z, what will happen? We can add the power. So it will be z power 9 plus 6, which will give you 36 z power 15. Let's look at here. We have half times 2 over 5. So if you can't do it directly, take the side of your copybook and you do your calculations. So 2 and 2 will cross out. You will be left with 1 over 5. So 1 over 5. Next, we're going to look at the alphabets. There's two alphabets here. There's X and there's Y. We're going to treat them differently. Because we are multiplying, we can add the powers. Now, we can only add powers if the family are the same. So I'm going to look at the family of X first. This power is 4. And this power has nothing on it, so I'm going to write 1. So it'll be x 4 plus 1. And then y, what will happen with y is that this one is 1 and this one is 5, so it will be 1 plus 5. And your answer is 1 over 5, x power 5, y power 6. Next, we have 3 different multiplications. There's 7, there's 8, there's 2. So on the side, I'm going to multiply 7 times 8 times 2. Now 7 times 2 I know is 14. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do 14 times 8. 8 fois 4, 32. 1 fois 8, 8. 8 plus 3, ça fait 11. 112. And then the powers, there's x, x. In here, there's no x. So I'm going to write x power. This power is 3, this power is 2, so I'm going to add 3 plus 2. I'm done with x. What do I have left? I have y, y, y. So I'm going to take all 3 powers of y. First power has nothing, so I'm going to write 1. Second power is 7, so I'm going to write 7. Third power is 15. Then you're going to add 112, x power 5, y power 8 plus 15. I think you will get 23. And that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna end here. I will send you the answers for the remedial a bit later. For now, follow this video and tell me if you understood. Thank you very much and have a good day, weekend. Bye bye.